Hey guys, today we'll be covering a 2021 miniseries called Mune ga Narunoha Kimi no Se. The movie opens up with the beautiful Tsukasa Shinohara running toward her school. Sadly, just as she arrives outside her school, one of her teachers spots her and asks for her name and class number for being late. A nervous Tsukasa tries to tell the teacher that she's on time, but fails. Fortunately, when the teacher is about to note down her name, her handsome classmate Hayato Arima approaches her, grabs her hand, and runs away. Despite the teacher trying to stop them both, they keep running, smiling the whole time. The scene then shifts to the time when Arima first joined the school and the teacher asked him to sit beside Tsukasa. She tries to make small talk with him, but he doesn't speak a word and just nods his head. Later, while other students in the classroom are making fun of Tsukasa for her name sounding like a boy's, Arima defends her and tells her that he likes her name. After this, Tsukasa begins to crush on Arima and secretly keeps looking at him. On one of the last days of middle school, Tsukasa is making vacation plans with her friends when Arima arrives, teases her, and also flirts with her. Seeing this, Tsukasa's friends assume that Arima also likes Tsukasa and suggests she asks him out before anyone else does. At first, Tsukasa shies away from doing so, but later when her friends encourage her, she agrees. Following this, Tsukasa meets with Arima at a quiet place and expresses her feelings for him and tells him that she liked him from the first day she saw him. Unfortunately, Arima rejects her and tells her that he only thinks of her as a good friend and has no romantic feelings for her. Swallowing her pride, Tsukasa sadly accepts the rejection and walks away, but not before telling them that they should continue being friends. The scene then shifts to the following school year where the students are now in high school. Tsukasa and her friends are happy to learn that they are all in the same class, including Arima. At the same time, a handsome new student named Yasuhiro Hasabe approaches Tsukasa and tells her that he is happy that they are together in the same class. Tsukasa isn't impressed by Hasabe, but her friends are struck by his charm. Later, when Tsukasa enters her new classroom, she finds that someone has written about Arima rejecting her advances on the blackboard. At the same time, Arima also arrives and gets angry seeing it. He immediately pounces on the guy who appears to have written it. Because of his violent reaction, Arima gets suspended from school. After school is over, Tsukasa goes to Arima's house and yells his name. She then thanks him for defending her, and before leaving, she tells him that she will always keep loving him, even if he doesn't feel the same way. In the next scene, Tsukasa and Arima meet up at school and talk for a while. Later, as Tsukasa is trying to get to the classroom, the boy who wrote about her on the chalkboard approaches her and apologizes to her. Tsukasa feels awkward talking to the boy, so Hasabe intervenes and sends him away. Following this, he comes closer to Tsukasa and reveals that Arima's ex-girlfriend, Mei Hasabe, is his cousin, and that she sent him there to look after Arima. Hearing this, Tsukasa becomes sad as she didn't know that Arima had a girlfriend before. The following day, the whole classroom goes on a camping trip and Tsukasa is selected as the leader of the group. The students arrive at their campsite and are happy to see other school students already enjoying themselves there. Tsukasa, being the captain of the group, can be seen taking care of them. Right then, another school student, Mei, approaches their group and goes straight to Arima. She then tells him that he hasn't changed a bit. Tsukasa notices the two talking and walks away without saying a word. Later, when Tsukasa is alone and carrying heavy utensils to clean, Arima helps her and asks if she's alright. Tsukasa replies that she's absolutely fine and also asks him why he rejected her. Arima reveals that he feels comfortable around her like his other male friends and has no romantic feelings for her. He then proceeds to describe her personal attributes, but just then, Mayu arrives and asks to speak to him in private. After Tsukasa walks away, Arima asks Mayu about her health. The latter says that she is good and is trying her best to adjust to her new school. On the other hand, Hasabe follows Tsukasa and tells her about Mayu's relationship with Arima. Tsukasa tries to exit the conversation and walk away, but not before telling Hasabe that she's not interested in hearing anything about Arima and his girlfriend. At night, Tsukasa is sitting with her friends in a common room. Her friends make a plan to visit the boys' room and hang with them. Being the leader of the group, Tsukasa initially opposes the plan, but when the girls decide to go to Arima's room, she agrees. Moments later, the girls are welcomed inside the boys' room and they start playing different games. They also make a plan to go to the beach, but unfortunately, a teacher hears them and yells at them for making noise as he proceeds to their room. Panicked, the girls rush to hide under the blankets. When Tsukasa is about to hide with another guy, Arima pulls her and covers her with his blanket. Soon the teacher arrives, but walks away after seeing all the boys sleeping. The next day, as the students return to their school, Tsukasa notices Arima talking with Mayu and Hasabe. After Arima leaves, Mayu calls Tsukasa and tells her that she is happy to learn that she is Arima's close friend. Mayu then asks Tsukasa to help her get closer to Arima and invites her to join them at the beach. Without speaking, Tsukasa just smiles and agrees to help her. The scene then shifts to the beach where everyone is enjoying themselves, except for Tsukasa, who is looking at Arima and Mayu talking. Right then, Hasabe approaches her and says that he believes she is a strong person as she came to the beach to help Mayu, despite knowing everything about her and Arima. Hasabe then reveals Mayu's condition and how her parents separated just as she broke up with Arima before changing schools. Hearing all this, Skasa appreciates Hasabe for his love for his cousin. Meanwhile, Mayu gets sick, so Skasa decides to visit a nearby shop to get something for her. Arima also joins her, and on their way to the shop, Skasa tells them that Mayu is really beautiful. When they get back, Mayu's health condition has worsened, and Arima decides to carry her to the resting area. He also urges Skasa to carry Mayu's belongings. During this time, Skasa notices a mark behind Mayu's left ear. Next, while Arima is away retrieving some medicines for Mayu, Skasa visits her in the resting area. Here, Mayu thanks Skasa for helping her and allowing her to get close to Arima. When Arima returns, he decides to accompany Mayu home and walks away with her, while Skasa heads home with Hasabe. While at the train station, Mayu tries to apologize to Arima for troubling him, but the latter tells her that he is quite sure that she is faking her problem. He then makes it clear to Mayu that they can no longer be together, breaking her heart. Later at night, Skasa can be seen on her cell phone looking at the pictures from the beach, zooming into Arima's face. Meanwhile, Hasabe and Mayu meet at her home, and he asks her if her father has brought home yet another new girl. Mayu acknowledges the rumor and replies that it is normal for her. A few weeks later, school resumes, and on the first day, Hasabe hugs Skasa from behind and reveals that he really likes her. Sadly, she immediately rejects him and walks away. When Hasabe attempts to follow Skasa, Arima arrives and grabs him by his collar. He then accuses Hasabe of trying to get closer to Skasa, despite her lack of interest in him. However, Hasabe retaliates, saying it is none of Arima's business who approaches Skasa, as he rejected her and is simply just a friend now. Later, Arima meets Skasa and asks if she would like to go for an ice cream with him. This makes Skasa happy at first, but then she remembers Mayu, so she declines his invitation. As expected, Arima is upset, but Skasa confirms that she is alright and that he should not be concerned about her. The next day, Hasabe can be seen looking at Skasa and smiling. Some of his female friends notice him and tell him that he has been behaving differently the past couple of days, and it appears as if he is in love with someone. This makes Hasabe realize that he has fallen for Skasa. In the following scene, Skasa and her friends are discussing the approaching festival, where one of her friends tells her that she is attending with her boyfriend. She also reveals that Arima will be there, making Skasa anxious. The scene then shifts to the day of the festival, where Skasa arrives wearing a beautiful dress. Arima and Hasabe can be seen waiting for Skasa, and both of them compliment her. While walking to the festival, Skasa feels a sudden pain in her foot and starts fixing her sandals. Surprisingly, when she finishes, she finds Arima waiting for her, while all of her other friends have left. After this, Arima and Skasa walk around the festival and spend some quality time together. While having shaved ice, Arima asks Skasa if she noticed the scar behind Mayu's ear. Skasa replies with a yes, and Arima reveals that the scar was caused because of him. He also mentions that during that time, Mayu was suffering from anemia and depression over the breakup when she fell to the ground, hitting a fence on the way down, causing the scar. Hearing this, Skasa acknowledges Arima for sharing his dark secret and rushes to the washroom. Inside the washroom, she looks in the mirror and starts crying. Later, when she walks outside, she meets Hasabe, who asks her where she was. Skasa tells him that she was with Arima, but got separated. While searching for Arima, the two notice the fireworks in the sky. Skasa keeps on staring at the sky, and when Hasabe asks her about what happened, she replies nothing and continues walking. Just then, she notices a couple locking lips and feels awkward. Hasabe mentions that it's perfectly normal for a couple and pulls her towards him. He then kisses her, prompting Skasa to slap him and walk away. On the other hand, Arima, who is waiting for Skasa, gets a message from her, stating that she has returned home after her sandal troubled her. Later at night, Skasa is inside her house crying. At the same time, Arima arrives outside, and after seeing her room lights on, he starts talking to her. Surprisingly, he confesses his love for Skasa and reveals how she completes him. Hearing this, Skasa gets emotional and tries her best to address Arima, but when she remembers her moment with Hasabe, she stops herself. As a result, a dejected Arima walks away. The next day, the whole school is again preparing for the festival, including Skasa, Hasabe, and Arima. The boys are talking about a school jinx, which states that if the couple walks into a campfire, they will remain together forever. Skasa overhears them and wonders for some time. The scene then fast forwards to the festival, where Hasabe approaches Skasa and apologizes for his previous behavior. Arima notices the two talking, but doesn't say anything. Later after the festival, Hasabe again follows Skasa and confesses his love for her. To his dismay, she rejects his love and tells him that she cannot love anyone other than Arima. In the meantime, Arima also arrives there looking for his best friend. But when he sees Tsukasa and Hasabi together, he becomes jealous and threatens the latter. After Hasabi leaves, Arima comes closer to Tsukasa and tells her that he is going crazy over her and cannot stand to see her with anyone else. Tsukasa is surprised to hear this and also notices her hairband with Arima. But before she can say anything to him, Arima walks away. Afterward, Tsukasa visits Arima in his room and tells him that someone kissed her, and that is the reason why she was unable to face him when he confessed his love for her in front of her house. Hearing this, Arima asks her if the person who kissed her was Hasabi. Tsukasa's silence is enough for him to assume the person to be Hasabi. He then gets angry at himself for not being able to protect her. All of a sudden, he asks Tsukasa if he can kiss her and pulls her closer. He then mentions that he is feeling jealous. Tsukasa wonders how a person like Arima can feel jealous, and the two hug each other. In the last scene, Arima and Tsukasa stand in front of the campfire along with some of their friends. When they run towards the campfire, Tsukasa looks at Arima and tells him that she cannot even imagine loving anyone other than him. The movie ends as Arima kisses Tsukasa and tells her that he too loves her very much.